So today we have some really compelling information. I'm so excited to share it with you all. A really important conversation. But first, our webinar series here at the Pet Sustainability Coalition would not be possible without our sponsors. So we're just going to take a quick minute to hear from our sponsor for this webinar, mFiber. So thank you so much to mFiber, and we'll hear from them right now.
Of PSE's growing webinar series. My name is Dustin Dover with mFiber. I'm very excited to be a part of PSE's growing webinar series. It's important that we all continue to grow in our sustainability journey, and the Pet Sustainability Coalition is dedicated to offering the education our team needs to pursue that goal. At mFiber, we are a vertically integrated ag business that provides the most sustainable fiber for pet food. We have worked with the Pet Sustainability Coalition on a life cycle analysis to demonstrate just how sustainable our ingredient is. I believe that documented success brings value to the end consumer, and the Pet Sustainability Coalition has the tools to help us show our progress. Join us over the next few weeks as we continue to grow in our education with this Pet Sustainability webinar series. And if you're looking for the most sustainable fiber in pet food, shoot me an email, ddover@mfiber.net. I would love to visit with you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dustin, and thank you so much to the mFiber team for your sponsorship of this webinar series. mFiber is a fantastic company that works with powdered cellulose to provide incredibly sustainable protein to the pet industry. So we will be sharing information on how to get in contact with them in the follow-up of this webinar. But let's really get into why you are all here today. So a quick introduction to the Pet Sustainability Coalition. As I mentioned, my name is Melissa Bauer. I am the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Sustainability here at the Pet Sustainability Coalition. We are a nonprofit industry association that works all throughout the pet industry. We are a global organization. We have about 60% of our membership here in North America, another 30% of our membership in Europe. We also have members in Australia, New Zealand, Asia, and South America as well. And we work throughout the supply chain, all the way from suppliers, manufacturers, retailers, distributors, brands, and the like. Just a little bit of housekeeping today, so everyone will know your microphones and video are turned off. As I mentioned, we are taking Q&A at the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any questions at any time, drop those in, and we'll be getting to as many of those questions as we can at the end. We also have the Pet Sustainability Coalition team monitoring the chat live. So if you have any troubles, please don't hesitate to let us know. And also the recording and slides from today's webinar will be sent to everyone after today's call. The Pet Sustainability serves a dual mission. So we work directly with our 200 plus members on helping to measure, improve, and celebrate their sustainability performance. But we also work together to address large-scale issues that are too big for one single company to solve. And that's really what brings us here today. So many of you, like myself, have been haunted by the videos, by the stories, by the pictures coming out of Ukraine over the last couple of months. And we have had so many people reach out to us to ask, how can they be helping? What is the state on the ground? And we've had so many members that have really come together, including, I will just name just a few, I'm sure I will miss some, but including Phillips and Animal Supply and Pet Food Expert, it's Mid-American Pet Food, so much more coming together to really provide on the ground help. And that fantastic work is being coordinated by the Greater Good Charities. So I'm so excited to introduce you to Denise Bash today. She is the Vice President of Pet Programs in the disaster area from Greater Good Charities. And you're going to be hearing from her as well as other people on the ground in Ukraine to be talking about what is the real situation, how is it progressing, and how we can help. So thank you so much, Denise, for joining us. I'm sure life is pretty insane in your world right now. So thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to hear how we can help.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm going to get started and share my screen right away because we have a pretty packed. Okay, so a little bit about Greater Good Charities. I want to let you know right off that we have an incredibly broad mission of protecting people, pets, and the planet. So we're going to talk today about the Ukraine response and what Greater Good Charities is doing related to people, pets, and wildlife. Situational update for everyone. Estimated 5 million people have fled Ukraine out to outside borders. The greatest numbers of them are in Poland. There's other checkpoints where people are leaving as well as airports. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening at the border checkpoints themselves and what we're doing. Most of the people that are refugees are women and children. Men have been asked to stay back and serve. There's also an estimated 6.5 million people that have evacuated inside of Ukraine. And we're going to talk a lot about those needs as well, because the refugees inside of Ukraine also have substantial needs, being that many of them aren't working. They're in overcrowded conditions. They may or may not have a pet with them. And there's a lack of resources in general. There's stores that are open, but not with as regular supply as always. When they're flowing out, they're going through border checkpoints. Most of them are overseen by the government with a lot of NGO support, non-government organization and or charity. We're going to talk about how many of them have pets and what's happening to those pets. But most important to Greater Good from our perspective is to mention that this is a long-term humanitarian response. We are very interested in saving the pets. We are very interested in helping them, but we all have to keep in mind that this is a humanitarian disaster with animals and wildlife mixed into it. I just wanted to give you an idea. This is a border crossing. This is people primarily from Odessa. And they are getting into Romania via a ferry, moves a few times a day. I'd say like 4 to 6 times a day, because the bridges have been blown up. And I just wanted you to take a look at the people. So these people have traveled by foot, car, to get to the boat. They are waiting for extensive periods of time. And I want you to keep in mind that these are all people just like you and me. They had a job, they had a life, they had a house. This is what they have now. So keeping in mind that people are literally walking out with what they have available on their back and what they can carry. So let's talk a lot about the response and the phases, because this is logistically complicated and very long. Greater Good really thought long and hard before we got involved. And the first thing that we were able to do was help with cash grants. And those emergency cash grants were really around feeding pets and around feeding people. That was the first cash support phase for us. We have funded 26 humanitarian and animal welfare organizations. That number goes up every day. We have funded transportation of wildlife, transportation of pets, and transportation of people. We have deployed a team of experts into the field in mid-March. Those included 2 security specialists, 1 psychologist, and 1 animal welfare expert, so that we could begin assessing programs and where and what to support. Phase 2 is still happening. In-country operational support and in-kind donations are what we have really, in that period, started to drum up more and more support for. Greater Good Charities runs the world's largest food bank system, and it operates daily in the United States. It's called the Goods Program. It used to be called the Rescue Bank Program. And with that logistical expertise and contacts, we were able to quickly establish with partners in Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, Romania, and the Czech Republic, a warehouse distribution system so that products could be brought in to assist people coming out with animals and their families, as well as ways to backfill and get products into Ukraine. So those individual partners are accepting things like veterinary supplies, toys for displaced children or children in orphanages, a good pack. We're going to talk about what that is, a tremendous amount of pet food and human food. Phase 3 is beginning now. We've had one flight, but we are doing container shipping of supplies of specific items, and we'll talk about what sort of hard goods we can take to ship over due to EU regulations. Because we are working with the Save the Pets of Ukraine initiative, we are the US-based charitable partner for that group, and that's the one where a lot of you are probably hearing from Phillips Pets and your other the APPA and other groups like that about what Save the Pets is. And Save the Pets is a group of us working under an umbrella with a lot of pet manufacturers, retailers, pet supply companies, you name it. And we're all working under a same umbrella to support a company called Cormatech. Cormatech is actually the largest provider of pet food in Ukraine, and they have spun up a wonderful charity called U Hearts. We are taking the donations for that organization and running them through a 501c3, as well as they are our Lithuania partner for distribution. They have an incredibly healthy supply network. Where they're delivering to within Ukraine, because they have an incredible depth of relationship with animal shelters, veterinarians, and also some human resource organizations. The nice part is that they are officially named by the country of Ukraine to accept pet products as a form of humanitarian relief. So back to the old idea of feeding pets is feeding people. Here you'll see a map of partners and distribution points throughout. It's a little bit confusing on a call like this, but I wanted you to see the different areas where you'll see people that are just doing pet supplies, people that are doing just people supplies, and people that are doing pet and people supplies. And you will see also the distribution points marked within Ukraine. One of the other things that we stood up in phase 1 is Good Home Ukraine. A Good Home is a foster program of Greater Good Charities that was developed when COVID happened and everyone was told, like, you need to go home within 48 hours. Well, our animal shelters were filled. So what we did was, in response in the United States, was created a platform where we could advertise the extreme need for foster homes and work to test the market. And within a few weeks, had drummed up tens of thousands of foster homes for our shelter partners. So we started to think, well, what are the needs of the shelter partners there? Because what we were hearing was that they were getting overwhelmed quickly in the beginning because so many people with pets were coming across. They might be able to take their pet with them, or they might need to turn their pet in because they don't have a place to go where their pet can go with them, but they wanted their pet to get out. There's also the movement, and early on, there was a lot of movement of shelter animals out of Ukraine. And so there was definitely a need for more foster homes. So basically what we did was we started vetting specific organizations that were saying that they were taking and seeing large numbers of pets coming in, and we registered on our software program. So phase 1 was recruitment and vetting organizations to make sure that they were appropriate to work with. We then allowed them to set up in our Good Home platform, and we began advertising heavily in those individual countries on social media that these foster homes were needed for these groups. On the foster side, a person can say this person lives in Bucharest. They are able to look up which organizations they might be interested in fostering for and find out more about them. And when they sign up, their information is sent directly to the shelters in a database. So instead of getting 1,000 Facebook messages or emails or everything else, keep in mind people are overwhelmingly busy there right now. This was a way to get them a database of possible foster homes. It is expanding. It went out in English originally, and it is now being worked into the individual languages of the individual countries that are participating in it. And I expect that within the coming months, we'll see a robust response. Related to good packs, which is something that I had described in the beginning, I think that it's important for you to understand that they are a good, sturdy backpack. Here's another picture of them. We use them regularly in the United States for disaster response. So inside of it, there's items for a man, woman, or a child for daily care. And then there is also sub packs for dogs and cats. So the idea is that these are being given out at railway stations in all over Ukraine, so that as people are exiting, whether it's they can get a pack, it will have comfort items for them and their animal. As you saw earlier, they don't have much with them. So this is a really nice thing when they go into one of the border crossings or a railway station or an airport where people are helping them, they can stuff even more into those bags and reuse them. So this is our partners at UHearts describing how they process the first load.
Hi everyone, I'm Irina from UHearts Foundation, and now we are on the warehouse of public organization Element of Life, where we receive 9 pallets of goods for pets and their owners from Greater Good Charities. Today they will be transferred to Kyiv region, where are evacuated people from Irpin, Bucha, and other hotspots of north part of Ukraine. So there are no time to prepare them, and we are doing it here. We are taking all the stuff together, like the goods for pet and also the goods for owner in one backpack, also filling bottles with water. So those backpacks will be ready to be distributed at any time in Kyiv region. Thanks to all partners that you are supporting not only Ukraine, not only Ukrainians, but also our pets, our cats and dogs.
So this young woman is working with the group that she discussed, and that's a major warehouse resource. And so what's really nice about it is other organizations that are activated within Ukraine can make requests for items like this, and these organizations can fill them. So they can go to other border points, not just utilized by them. The next phase for Greater Good Charities includes veterinary support. So Greater Good Charities operates a program called Good Fix, across the United States, which is a high volume, high quality spay and neuter program. And it has thousands of veterinary volunteers within it. So we mobilized that network of veterinarians when we were requested by the International Fund for Animal Welfare to assist families as they crossed into Poland on a footpath. We have a vet there now. She is the, I believe, 7th person that we have sent. They are doing an amazing job. There's actually a video about it that's going to show you a lot more. And so we are sending these vets and technicians. They are working with the IFA team, who also has Ukrainian vets, Polish vets, and other American vets that are providing 24/7 care. Shifts are 8 to 12 hours a day. And they are there to do some screening work, and I will definitely show you that video. We're also supporting an organization called Anima Adulta, which has been working with the Street Dog Coalition, and we are supporting that border crossing in Romania as well. That's where you saw the people coming off the boat in the very beginning that I was talking about. We're also supporting them with veterinary supplies through our partners, including SNAP tests, and vaccines, and then we are also shipping in some surgical supply through that. Actually, that's going to go into Ukraine, not to the border. But this is just so you have a taste of what the different ones look like. This is the one being run at the Romanian border, one of the Romanian
All right, so I've just heard from the translator that this cat is actually from Odessa, and this family, the fire end, have just escaped from Odessa. It's a really, really beautiful cat. Obviously been through a lot, but she's getting the care she needs.
As you can see, these are basically mash style.
Now she's going to have a crate, and she has her vaccines. And these are all things that Greater Good has helped to support.
So they're going to, at that border cross point, because they are Romanian vets, they're going to be giving a vaccine. They're going to be updating the person's health passport that goes with their pet. And they are overseen by that government. This video is one of our volunteers working in Poland at a border cross point that is supported by international vets. So people are literally walking up a path. They're walking from Ukraine into Poland, and they're going to get there, and there's going to be tents all over the place. There's going to be people that are going to give them some food. There's going to be people that are giving them directions on how to get to the next train, where to get to the bus to get to the next train. And by the way, here's a vet tent. Did you need your pet looked over? They are seeing everything. They are seeing everything from frogs to squirrels to ferrets to hamsters to cats to dogs, you name it. It is happening. But I think, again, it's best to hear from the people that are there. We are sending people for 7-10 days tops. It is grueling emotional work because you are empathically dealing with traumatized people and their pets. So we want to make sure that everybody stays healthy. And so let's hear from Dr. Julie Ryan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Ryan Johnson. I'm a board member from Greater Good Charities, and I recently got back from Poland helping with the refugees' pets.
Right now, I am working as a veterinarian. This tent is supplied with medical supplies that have all been donated. There's a veterinarian here 24/7, and we are about 50 yards from the border. What's happening is our particular gate is where people are walking through. They are getting their animals checked here. We do basically a wellness check, give them food, give them water. Mostly what we're doing is really assuring the pet owner that the animal, even though it's gone through incredible amount of stress, is doing okay. A woman came through, and the building next to her was shelled, and so her building caught on fire, and so she left with 7 cats. Wait, I can't do this when I cry.
and her house was burned to the ground, so she didn't have a place to stay, and she also didn't have any place in Europe, so she just had to like leave her 6 cats here, and she just gave them to us, and she has been crying like for 10 minutes, and I felt like really sorry for her.
And she could only take one on to wherever she was going. And so 6 of the cats are all being rehomed by the volunteers that have been working for IFAWS. And I'm very lucky enough that I get one of those wonderful cats as my souvenir. And he'll always remind me of my trip here.
As a result of this, I had the great opportunity to bring home with me a beautiful Ukrainian cat from a poor woman that could not keep all of her animals. They have all been successfully rehomed into great homes. I purposely did not tell my husband I was bringing him home. And I gotta say, my husband was just took it in stride, never even mentioned it. Other than once we got in the car, he's like, well, what are we gonna name him? So my husband just thought he was so gorgeous that's, and Ben Morrison is his hero. So he named him Madam George for that song. Some people from my high school that I graduated a few years ago shared it with all the teachers. I was so glad to see that they were all donating to Greater Good because they love this story so much. In seeing him, this makes it real. I mean, everybody loves their pets, and you could really put yourself in this poor woman's situation, and what would you do? I mean, would you be able to give up your pets? I mean, that's a horrific thing to do on top of all the other things they're going through, is to have to give up their pet. And I'm just so glad that I was able to be in that position where I can take them and give them a good home. All those small acts of kindness is what really, really made a difference to the Ukrainian people that were coming through. I was so thankful to be asked to go to Poland and to help at the border, because it really, everybody wants to know what they can do. And I'm super lucky that not only was able to go there and help, but I was able to bring him back.
So there's a lot to unpack there, obviously, and I hope that there'll be questions about it later, and I certainly want to answer them. I want to talk about food. Food is a massive issue here, and the expectations of a country, basically the breadbasket of Eastern Europe, being so deeply affected in farming. You're talking about a massive amount of damage, many fields that in areas that were occupied or are now occupied have been laden with landmines, a lot of hits on farm animals in general, and food security is of major concern. Since the beginning, we have been supporting feeding first, because it's primary life support. And to date, we have funded 4.8 million human meals. We've done that through human food banks by providing cash so that they can distribute and help people that are refugees, as well as support soup kitchens, people like World Central Kitchen, very small groups that are feeding at the borders, and people that are supporting sending trucks of food into Ukraine relief centers. Regarding animal welfare, we are working to provide food that we talked about with cash, but we are also procuring it with cash, and we have begun to actually begun to produce food with United Pets. We have provided 200 tons so far and are ramping up to continue to meet the needs of the people within Ukraine and outside of Ukraine. This is one of the smaller food banks that we're working with, but again, I think it's important to see the diversity of all the people working to create solutions.
Hi everyone, my name is John Peveler. I'm the Director of Field Services with Greater Good Charities. I'm here in Rzeszów, Poland. That's in eastern Poland. It's pretty close to the Ukrainian border. I'm actually standing inside of a food bank that is providing food for refugees. So refugees actually come to the food bank to pick up materials. And they're also sending trucks out every day. They're sending about 35 pallets. And so just around me right now, there's a ton of stuff for fire departments. So this is a government food bank. So there's just a ton of stuff like fire gear, food, lots of supplies headed into Ukraine. Everybody's doing everything that they can here. There are volunteers that come in and support them. There are companies that are donating, but it's a very hard situation. There's a lot of stress on everybody, but they're all pitching in as much as they can. It's actually really emotional to see everything that people are doing to help each other, to help Ukrainians. So it's really amazing to see everything that's happening. So they're in here, they're in the back corner. They've got tons of clothes and stuff for people. Really, it's just really heartening to see everything that everybody's doing to pitch in to this effort. I just want to say thank you to all of our supporters for everything you're doing to help us, to help the Polish and the Ukrainians help each other.
Here's another style of pet feeding partner. This is a group called Kitchenette for Pets. She is in the Czech Republic. She ran a small pet pantry, and she's another one of those unsinkable Molly Browns. She took something that was small and spun up her activities, got larger warehouse space, began to move truckloads of food, and just really needed the help to get to that next sustainable level. And we're also working with her now to add in more human supplies.
I'm Markéta Pavleje, founder of Kitchenette for Animals. Since Ukrainian war started, we help for animals in Ukraine. Nice to be part of cooperation with the Greater Good Charity.
There we go. Now we've got some friends. That's quite the introduction.
And this is quite a unique moment because this is the first time they are going to see sun and grass and running freely around. So they are super happy. When this war started, of course, I was thinking how I can help personally. So I was organizing some food transportation to Ukraine. Greater Good Charity give us amazing amount to help and to support our work and buy a lot of food for more and more dogs and cats.
We're all about amplifying the good. It's finding organizations like yours that are doing incredible work and trying to help you do more of that work.
There was no help for animals, there was no one thinking about them. But yeah, they came from other shelters, and also maybe some of them had families for sure, because it's visible they are really like dogs who had home, who are really used to be with people, around people. Thank you for supporting us and supporting Greater Good Charity so we can connect our power and help.
It's a great privilege of this job, is getting to meet partners across the world and see the incredible work that they're doing, like this dog right here.
Yeah.
Oh, you're sweet. How old are you? Oh, she's old.
It's nice. She came to say bye. And thank you for support.
Yeah.
I'm Markéta Pavleje.
Here's another type of activity for feeding that we're supporting. This is a refugee center. It is an old style dorm that was owned by the Polish government and was turned over for women and children. Where we have, in the beginning, they were really struggling with getting hooked into the food bank system. So we really supported them a lot with getting nutritious food in for the kids, getting a laptop set up because they had one table there. So we set up an arts and craft room for the young kids to help them with their trauma and their broken hearts, as well as set up computer stations so the older kids could participate in online learning, and bought a lot of products for young mothers with very young children.
All right, here we are in Dunhusk. We're just dropping off the second load of food, toys, and clothes at this shelter for women and children. There are about 300 people staying in here at the moment. And currently, the biggest need we have is food. Everybody is running desperately short on food. These folks are doing a fantastic job of taking care of everybody here.
So even with the food bank food coming in, we continue to support fresh fruits and vegetables and specialty items. We are working with a new partner who is doing the same at a larger shelter with 600 people. And so we're providing financial support so they can do the same for those people. Save the Dogs and Other Animals is one of our distribution points in Romania. And so this you will see is a border cross point, and this is one of the volunteers using funding we provided to get new carriers and things like that.
Hi everyone, my name is John Peveler. I'm here with Greater Good Charities. We're on the ground in Budapest, Romania, where we've just landed in order to check on our partners here that are doing just incredible work to help people and animals along the Ukrainian border. So they've been setting up and sending in food into Ukraine. They've been helping refugees as they bring their pets across the border. I want you to hear from them exactly how we're supporting them and how they're doing incredible work to help Ukrainians and Ukrainian pets. It's just such a tragic situation, and resources are so scarce on the ground here in Romania. It's such a major challenge. The border crossing that we've been supporting doesn't have a land access at all. There's no bridge, there's no road. So all of the refugees have to come over on a ferry, which only runs a few times a day. So it's even that much more of a challenge. These are people that are escaping the terror of Russian bombs in the Odessa region into Kherson, that whole southern part of Ukraine, which we know is really, really under attack from the Russian troops. So it's such a tragic situation, and we're here to make sure that these organizations have the resources that we need. We're making sure that other resources are getting here from outside of the country, from inside of the country. We're just mobilizing everything that we possibly can in order to help alleviate the tragedy of the circumstance.
Hi, my name is Adrian Ion. I'm director at Save the Dogs Romania. From when the war started, we are at the border with volunteers. We help the people who cross the border with pets. We give pet carries, blankets, leashes, collars, and what is needed to help their animals. We offer support in medical knowledge, and if they have, we donate also a lot of food. We send to different shelters from Ukraine, and we save also 30 dogs from there. Now are here in our shelter. Thank you, Greater Good Charities, for all your support.
On behalf of everyone at Save the Dogs, I want to thank Greater Good Charities for their incredible support. We couldn't do this without your help, really. You know, it started with a very generous financial grant, which has helped us to buy pet carriers and other pet supplies, and keep volunteers going to the border every day to support refugees, and then followed by an extremely generous donation, which is helping us buy 32 tons of pet food, which is going to shelters in Odessa and street dogs in Odessa where the dogs and cats are literally starving, and also going to refugees at the border as well. So we're so grateful to be partners with you, and yeah, I can't say enough about that.
So that's at the same border cross point where you'll see, a lot of these animals have been in those crates for a very long period of time. So getting some fresh supplies and cleaning up your baby becomes extremely important. This next woman is one of my favorite interviews. She comes from Poland, and she, like so many people, got involved because they could not turn away. She did not-for-profit work unrelated to humanitarian response, and is using that small charity so that she can provide care to people who desperately need it. Specifically, some of her work with children in orphanages and people in mental health institutions, which tend to be people with mental health and developmental disabilities, making sure that they are not overlooked and that they're getting nutritious food, is incredibly important to her and to us. And I'm going to let her speak for herself. She's amazing.
Hi, my name is Agnieszka. I am volunteer and I'm working on the Ukrainian side. We have the relief center in the cities and villages around the in my area, yes, in my part of the Ukraine. We give help to refugees, people who came to Poland, and they waiting in the big line, and we support them. We will give them some food, sandwiches, fresh soup, and things like this. I really feel that I'm living in the war zone. It's really sad thing, because I know war only from the stories, my grandparents' stories. I do everything. I am person who buying stuff. I am responsible for make some transport and hire people, looking for the buses, looking for medicine and everything what they need from the Ukrainian side. We are caring about refugees. There is many people, they left homes. They have nothing. They have only one clothes, some papers, and this is it. They can't working there, and they are alone, and they need our support. They are in very bad shape. Physically, and also have mental issue, because many of them has really bad experience over there, and they don't have possibility to go back, because most of them doesn't have homes and place to get back anymore. Difficult situation, because there is so many people, they need support, and this is only 1 month, and everybody already made everything what they can, yes, but I have this feeling that still it's not enough. This food will be go to orphanage in the Ukrainian, in Lubom, and some part of this stuff we will send to Kovel on the Ukrainian side, and probably we can send this to the Odessa through the train railway.
Why do you do this?
I was really scared, and I'm really afraid what's happened. My hands shaken, and it was really very inside me, this fear. And that's why I'm going outside and start helping, because I feel better. I didn't thinking about fear, and this is why. I want to thank you. Ukrainian people, every time they told me that they didn't expect that so big help came from.
Sorry. Oh no. Sorry.
Everywhere, they are really surprised, and then that whole world wants to be with Ukraine, and the help is so big, and I really thank you for this support, for this help, and for this hope, because for us it's really hope that we have someone who stands with us, who wants to support us, and this hope that people are still people.
So empowering heroes is something that we are most certainly doing.
Hi, my name.
And we are also working on creating pet food, like we discussed. So this is with United Pet products in Poland. And take note of the bags that we're producing. They're very, very plain on purpose. They're simply marked cat or dog food, or puppy or kitten food. And then it is marked in Ukrainian humanitarian relief supply, no resale. So just to make sure that we're cutting back on anybody that might try to be a reseller. I'm sorry, that needs to go back.
My name is Robert Mroziński. I'm the managing director of United Pet Food Polska, one of the largest European manufacturers of dry pet food. In a view of what is happening in Ukraine, we think it's least we can do, if we can help anyhow, greater good in feeding pets of Ukraine, because I think that in a view of a tragedy like war, declared without any reason by Russia to Ukrainians. I think that we tend to forget about pets. They are also living, but obviously we are all mainly focused on human beings, and that's also natural. We are in a pet food business, so we feel kind of obliged, and that's a normal human thing to do, to help pets suffering, being forgotten during the wartime. So that's why we decided to help, and that's why we decided to continue to help, and that's what we'll do. We have manufactured the first batch of cat food and dog food. It's nearly 100 tons, and that pet food will be delivered to Ukraine. And the pets belonging to the refugees living currently in Poland, Czechia, and Romania. And the plan is that together with Greater Good, we'll be supplying on a weekly basis between 70 to 100 tons of pet food to those countries.
It's just a thank you to some of our partners that are already on board. And I'm actually going to put that into the chat so that you'd be able to get a hold of me if you have any questions later.
Denise, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I found myself I have 2 dogs and a cat, and I found myself getting a little emotional on some of those videos. So thank you for sharing. I think you did a fantastic job in kind of framing the problem. We have a lot of questions in the chat and in Q&A talking about, okay, how do we help? So, you know, we have dozens of pet companies on the call today. I was hoping you could just speak to them of, you know, what can we be doing? What can we be doing today? What can we be doing in the medium to long term as well?
Absolutely. So supporting this and recognizing that this is a longevity event is important. The issue that we're having with our Canadian and United States partners is that you can't just ship food to the EU. You have to have EU certified food, and there's very few manufacturers of it, and they are the experts in shipping it and understand the letters that you need from veterinarians, et cetera, and things like that. Hard goods, on the other hand, are something that we can more easily supply. So the types of things that we are shipping are going out of 2 general areas. One of them is down in Florida, in the Fort Lauderdale area. And then the other one is out of United Pet in Easton, Pennsylvania. That's going out of Port Newark. So for anybody that's interested in reaching out to me afterwards about whether or not an in-kind product can go, that would be truly appreciated. Keeping in mind also your 6 degrees of separation can be important. We cannot save pets without saving people. There's a generation of traumatized children at this point that need to be looked at. If you know somebody that manufactures computers, or somebody in Europe that might have some books, or there's no wrong when you're helping people restart. Pharmaceutical supplies are incredibly important for these people, and basic medicine. So again, any European contacts on that, we would be incredibly thankful. Cash for shipping is also, you know, the sustainability. United Pets is being incredible. They are producing food for us at cost. They're not charging us anything extra. However, when you're trying to buy 100 tons of it a week, it gets a little steep. So shipping it as well. We have other animals involved. So critters. So keeping in mind that I've literally seen everything skip across those borders, from squirrels to ferrets to mice to frogs, you name it.
Yeah.
Oxbow has jumped on today. They ship internationally and are EU certified. So we're going to test a shipment of that and see how that goes with distribution points inside of Ukraine. In other words, getting to people before they leave with the right supplies, or if they're internally displaced, supporting them because they can't afford it. And it also, the cash goes to supporting purchases of pet food and other supplies, because we want to support we want to support normal operations as much as possible as well.
Yeah. So, oh, I'm sorry. So if a brand, a food brand specifically, is EU certified and does have food on the ground in Europe, they are available to make donations. Is that correct?
That would be amazing.
Okay.
We'll also look at any low-cost production options.
Okay.
So we absolutely, we want to talk to you.
Okay, fantastic. So it sounds like if we have EU certified food, that is an urgent need. If we have broader hard goods, so like crates, leashes, collars, these things, that's also fantastic. And if we have none of the above, then cash donations is fantastic as well. Is that, does that sound okay? Great. We have some fantastic veterinarians on the call who are saying, I want to come help. If we have some veterinarians who want to come and help on the ground, how can they do that? Or can they do that?
We are signed up through, I put my email in there for anybody that wants to reach me. We are good right now through mid-May. What I expect is that we will get more requests. So if you will kindly reach out to me with your interest, and especially, like, I'm a wildlife vet. I'm a small animal practitioner. I'm an equine vet. Those things are good to know as well. I'm interested in working to support refugees, and also let us know if you're interested in working inside of Ukraine. While we're not sending veterinarians ourselves inside of Ukraine due to the risk, and I couldn't assure you if I tried, but some of our partners are. So if you are interested in something that's a little more intense, let me know. But please reach out.
Okay. And just so everyone on the calls knows, we will be putting information on how to get in touch with Denise and all of the fantastic work that Greater Good is doing and follow up.
Yeah, and there is a transparency page on greatergood.org. So you'll be able to see, and they're actually updating it in a really cool way. So you'll be able to see constant updates about what the funding and support are doing. And it's a really good place to track as things progress and start to look at those other groups too. If we're supporting them, they're awesome. We want you to look at them too.
So we've got questions coming in. Everybody wants to help. I love our community. We have a great question coming in. If someone wants to volunteer to help, but they aren't necessarily a veterinarian, how would they go about doing that? Do you need volunteers on the ground?
On the Ukraine side?
I would just say in Europe as well. So probably in Ukraine, but also in the surrounding area. I can
definitely refer you to some of our partners if you're interested in, helping out at warehouses and things like that. We don't have a request right now, but those come in and out. So if you are interested in volunteering, please again, reach out and let me know, because sometimes, like, even where you saw people at that IFA tent, for instance, there's still other people that are non-veterinarian there. Like they've had animal emergencies come up. So that's the person that puts the animal in the car and takes them and their person to an emergency vet. That's the person that is running to get the meals for everybody, or pet food at the pet food bank. Those are all the things that make everything happen.
Great. All right, we've got time for one more question. The last question is, are there other types of pet products such as poop bags or wipes that might be helpful?
Thank you. Due to cost, we're not shipping things like poop bags because we can readily get them on the market and they're inexpensive there. We have had some offers of wipes. One of the biggest things is, again, it goes back to like some of the hand sanitizer we couldn't ship. Please reach out and we'll have our customs guy take a look at it, because some of it's yes and some of it's no.
Yeah, I get that. Well, I want to thank Denise, you and everyone at Greater Good. You are doing such fantastic work here at the Pet Sustainability Coalition. We are so proud to be amplifying your message, and thank you so much for all of the good work that you are doing. I want to just remind quickly everybody on the call that we do these webinars once a month. Next month, we're going to be talking about what do we do about waste with North Star Recycling. So, you know, we all have office paper, we all have manufacturing distribution, we all have extra waste. So what do we do about that? And can we be saving or generating money from those funds and from those excess materials? And also want to give a quick shout out to the Earth Day rally that we have going on right now, where we are working with a myriad of partners in the pet industry to inspire 1,000 earth-friendly actions towards a better future for pets, people, and planet. So we will be including information about that in the follow-up. Also, please let us know what was your rating of this webinar, and if you have any other ideas of things that you want to be hearing from the Pet Sustainability Coalition, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. But thank you. I cannot thank you much, Denise. I was literally getting teared up during some of these videos trying to think about imagining leaving my four-leg. Yeah, I can't imagine. So thank you so much for all the work that you and great.
I look forward to hearing from some of you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you everyone so much for joining us. We'll be sending more information out today, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.